Peter Rosenberger. He's Irish on his mother's side.
Welcome to Hope for the Caregiver. I am Peter Rosenberger. This is the nation's #1 show for you as a family caregiver. Glad to have you with us. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you holding up? What's going on in your life as a caregiver? 877-655-6755 if you want to be a part of the show. 877-655-6755. Got a big show lined up. A lot of information to unpack today for family caregivers. It's about helping you stay strong and healthy as you care for someone who is not. And we're glad you're a part of the show. Joining me, as always, is himself, the Baron of the Board, the Sultan of Sound, the Earl of Engineering, the elf on the shelf, the Mensch on the bench. He is the man who loves Christmas, John Butler, everyone.
And I do love Christmas. How you doing, Peter?
I got to give you a theme song. You know, I got.
There you go. Yeah.
And here he is, John Butler. Everybody, take a twirl.
Oh yes, I will just part the curtains and grace everyone with my voice. Apparently,
yes, you
but
yeah, you love Christmas, don't you? You love Christmas.
I absolutely love Christmas. It is a fantastic. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most wonderful. Well, do you? Are your kids excited?
They very much are. And this is, I mean, it's a weird year for everybody. So this is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to have any family over or anything like that, unfortunately. But
what are you cooking?
We've got, that is still a little bit up in the air. That's a little bit up in the, I might do like a beef Wellington like I did for Thanksgiving last year. I know there's going to be at least one cheesecake involved. I don't know how, the only question is how many cheesecakes are involved, which brings me to our first gift you can give yourself. as a
cheesecake.
No. It's but I'll get to that later.
Well, we've been doing a series on gifts that caregivers can give to themselves, and we've had quite a few good ones. We've had the one where you send a card to yourself because sometimes your loved one cannot, which I do like that one a lot. And that may be still one of my more favorite ones as far as just something that's unique and different that nobody's ever really talked about before. But I like that one. The other one is
low investment.
Low investment,
nice and easy. Yes.
And then you give your yourself the gift of health and call your primary care physician or your dentist, not and your dentist, yes. and set up an appointment to take care of you physically.
And wish them Merry Christmas,
and do wish them Merry Christmas. I like to do that when the dentist is. I like to go to the dentist after eating a box full of Oreos.
Don't do that. That's really, it's just that it's so you.
it is me. But we got some more today, and then so pick. What else have we talked about?
We've done do something physical, and let's see. I think that I can't remember. I might be doubling up here, but that's okay. That's okay. These are all real good.
Something physical doesn't have to mean running a marathon. Just move. Just move. Get up and walk around and go for a walk and so forth. And these are
important. Doing something that brings joy to your heart, like gardening.
Yes.
That's your thing, or playing the piano, or Unless if it's playing the banjo or the accordion, I think you might need to go see your doctor first before you try
the bagpipe.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a definition of a gentleman is a man who can play the banjo but won't,
but chooses not to. Yes. So the one for today, speaking of cheesecake, is I know this one's this preaching to meddling. I'm telling you, but make one small change in your diet, just a little one. And that's goes along with the health and seeing your physician. But yes, we're going to have cheesecake for Christmas, or mincemeat pie, or whatever it is. There's the holidays are a rough time for this one in particular, but this is a long-term thing. And maybe don't drink soda anymore. Maybe just say I'm gonna have coffee or without sugar. Or I know this is the South, and unsweet tea is. I'm going to get in trouble, but, just water even. Maybe try avocados if you haven't done that recently, and see if you really like
I will tell you something I have done, and I'm on a,
go on.
I'm not getting religious about this. I'm just doing it. Okay.
Yeah. And that's a thing.
I'm not getting it 100% right, but I am really trying to watch gluten.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Go on.
I have been dealing with this problem with my left knee for some time now. I had it operated on this year, and I have some arthritis in it. And I've been under the impression, and I may be wrong on this, but that gluten does not necessarily help arthritis.
Gotcha.
And so I thought, well, let me try. I mean, I'm not going to swear off of every bit of it, but I'm going to consciously reduce it down.
And see what the results are, and that's because we don't argue with those. If it works, even if it's a placebo, I'm great. Go for it. Absolutely.
Well, Grayson, our son, he has been on a pretty big kick, and he's like dropped 35 pounds since August. I mean, he's really pushing himself to get in some superb shape. But he said dairy, sugar, and bread was he just walked away from it, and it's just like it just melted off of him. And so, I don't know, for caregivers that's hard because you can't just throw out everything in the house and start from scratch and things such as that. But you can start making conscious decisions.
And this is a small change. Yeah. This is one small change in your diet. And water's a lot cheaper than soda. I'm just saying.
It is. And here's something else I've done.
Go on.
Yogurt. I have instead of I like desserts. I like sweets, and I will indulge. And this time of year particularly, but it's
cheesecakes, remember? Yeah.
I've been having. I keep a thing of Greek yogurt in the refrigerator, and then some. Try to get some gluten free, but if not, just good healthy granola and some berries.
Right.
And that's my dessert. And
it's great. It's really, really good with blueberries and yogurt. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah.
And it's tasty It's tasty and nutritious. And I'm saying this to caregivers, not to in any way say, okay, here's the diet for caregivers. The caregiver diet. No, I don't care about that.
Worst thing you could do.
I just think we just make small changes, very small changes, to help us along our way, because one step in the right direction is two steps away from the wrong direction.
Exactly.
And so this is what we're doing. You got another one?
I do. I think we're running out of time, but I've got 2 or 3 more that we can do. We can do a little bit next week too. But isolation is something we talk about all the time, and if it's very difficult in 2020, and this was written before then, so going to church or other places of worship might not be possible for everybody, especially if you're like immunocompromised or something like that. But maybe you can slip in and just listen to the music from way in the back and be nice and distant or something like that.
Well, technology has changed so much that we can actually video conference with each other and watch the same movie. Did you know?
Right.
I mean,
No, you can do this with a VR helmet, and go to a concert and hang out with other people in VR helmets in a special place in the concert. It's really weird.
I wasn't quite going there.
Yeah,
but,
I know, but this is there. But just so you know, technology is really, really great. But you can, I know many churches have virtual services where you can sit through it and from
I think they stream mass from the Vatican on Christmas Eve.
Oh, absolutely,
and but it's it's not just the VR stuff. You can actually sync up so that you're watching the same movie at the same time through a network.
And be on the phone or through a Skype call or something like that.
Yeah, you could have your video conference up or your FaceTime or whatever, or just be on the phone. And
that's going to make commentary about the sermons in real time. That's going to get bad.
Well, not just for the sermons. I'm talking about for a movie, or a TV show or a concert or whatever.
But being able
something
to
that
talk
connects
with another
you.
individual. Yeah, something that connects you with another human being. And it's an experiential thing, something where you're both doing the same thing, and you can chat about it and just kind of. And this is not a therapy session or anything like that, although those have their place, and those times when we break down and connect with our friends and loved ones in a way that's very important, that's a different thing. But to have just that regular social interaction with people that are close to you is incredibly important, and a really, really good gift to give to yourself.
One of the things that I've done for me, and this may not be for everybody, and some people it may take some getting used to, but I've done this for me, and I've done it for years, is I have a piece of technology that I use. It is a Bluetooth earpiece. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
I'm holding it up right now. Now, some people like the iPods, that are Bluetooth.
Yeah, the
in
earbuds.
both ears.
Mm-hmm.
Earbuds, yeah. And those are fine. I don't have them. They're a little bit more expensive than what I'm using, but I've used this for years. And it allows me, I can't hold the phone and talk to people and get things done. Okay, I just can't.
No. We're multitaskers. I've got to be doing like 2 or 3 things at once. So yeah, I do the same thing. And speakers.
My hands have to be free, and I don't like speakerphone. I hate speakerphone, and so I did this, and I've worn out at least half a dozen, if not more, of these things.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm on the phone a lot with a lot of things that I do. But it allows me to engage with people. They're right there with me. I talk to my parents almost every day. I've got my sister, my brothers, friends, family, pastor, name it. I talk to them, and I'll be
do this while you're doing dishes. Yeah.
They in fact, they always say. I had one guy. He told me, he says, "Don't you ever just sit down and talk?" And I'm like, "No."
Why would I waste that time?
I'm going to sit down and talk so you'll always hear pots and pans. In fact, I've actually done media interviews while cooking dinner. I remember that I was doing a thing on, a national news thing, and I was cooking dinner in the background, but I didn't make any apologies because it was dinner time and I had to do it.
Yeah. And you just try to get the silicone whisk instead of the metal one, so you're it's a little quieter.
But no, I found that was incredibly helpful to me because it allowed me to engage with people and talk with people, but I didn't just sit there and do nothing while I did it, because I can't as a caregiver. I mean, I'm doing laundry, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm ironing, and everything else. And I'm a good ironer, by the way. I do extreme ironing, John. Yeah, I love
extreme ironing. Do you go? This was really a thing. Like people ironing in the middle of an abandoned freeway or something. It's late at night though. It was like planking or something like that.
It's 20 degrees outside and we got snow. If I'm ironing out on my deck, that's extreme ironing. But it's
extreme ironing, yes.
No, I that allows me to do these things, make up the bed and just cooking dinner and doing the dishes and so forth. But it also allows me to stay connected to people. And I was doing this long before coronavirus, and it became a habit. And I've got a core group of people who understand this and know that they are my conduit to a world that, I would not normally be able to have as a caregiver. And so that may be something that you as a caregiver might find helpful if you could get a good Bluetooth headset and do it, not one with a cord. I mean, you could get one with the cord. You have to put the phone in your shirt pocket and that kind of thing. And I found it's better if I just have the Bluetooth and I can walk away hands free and I just leave the phone there. And then if I get a phone, a call or something while the headset's on, I mean, I'm not using it, but it'll say, "Hey, call from John Butler." And I can just tell it to answer. I'll say answer. And, or in your case, decline. But no, I'm just kidding. I always take your call.
No.
I always take John's call.
I am of a certain age where it's people like to rag us about this, where we don't like to. If it's a number I don't know, I'm not picking it up. That's just.
Well, see, now this is what separates me from you. If it's a number I don't know and it's usually spam, I will take the call and I will jocular.
I know.
I will get jocular with them. And
absolutely.
I will. I'll do it.
Well,
and
I'm sure that the people
I've talked to more car warranties.
I saw. Fantastic. Oh yeah. How many cars do I have? Well, I've got this bicycle.
I told them when they called about my extended car warranty, and they said, "Do you have the car in your possession?" I said, "Well, not technically. It's been impounded, but those are not my drugs." And I just kept going. And the guy was like, "Do you have another car?" And I said, "Well, it's an older model." He said, "Is it after 2004?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's a hearse. It's got 125,000 miles, but they're really easy miles."
They're really
so, Hey, this is Hope for the Caregiver. John and I are having a good time. Merry Christmas. We hope you're having a great time, too. Things that we can do as caregivers. We'll be right back. We got a great interview at the bottom of the hour. Lots of things to talk about. Don't go away. 877-655-6755 if you want to be a part of the show. 877-655-6755.
Have you ever struggled to trust God when lousy things happen to you? I'm Gracie Rosenberger, and in 1983, I experienced a horrific car accident leading to 80 surgeries and both legs amputated. I questioned why God allowed something so brutal to happen to me. But over time, my questions changed, and I discovered courage to trust God. That understanding, along with an appreciation for quality prosthetic limbs, led me to establish Standing with Hope. For more than a dozen years, we've been working with the government of Ghana and West Africa, equipping and training local workers to build and maintain quality prosthetic limbs for their own people. On a regular basis, we purchase and ship equipment and supplies, and with the help of inmates in a Tennessee prison, we also recycle parts from donated limbs. All of this is to point others to Christ, the source of my hope and strength. Please visit standingwithhope.com to learn more and participate in lifting others up. That's standingwithhope.com. I'm Gracie, and I am Standing with Hope. I'm alive, lift up my voice above the chaos and the noise. 'Cause all my hope amidst the pain. I shout this song against the rain. Rejoice evermore.
Welcome back to Hope for the Caregiver. I am Peter Rosenberger, and that is Gracie from her CD Resilient. It's still time. I think we can get this to you in time if you want a copy of that to put in a stocking for someone or for yourself. It's a great CD, and you can go out to hopeforthecaregiver.com. Just click on the donate button. Whatever's on your mind to donate to this work that we're doing in this ministry, we'll send you a copy of her CD as our gift to you, and I think you'll enjoy it immensely. Here's a programming note. You can go also to our podcast for other episodes. If this is the first episode that you've heard, and I had a wonderful interview, John, this week with Kathy Lee Gifford, who called into the show. And it was,
I didn't get to ask about that yet.
Well, we talked about 30 minutes, and it's. I've known Kathy Lee for some time, and when I heard about her new book, and it's called, It's Never Too Late, and I really liked the title of it. I thought, a lot of people think that, a lot of caregivers think that their life is over, that this is, that their life is forfeit for the person they're taking care of, and they're sacrificing their dreams and aspirations and desires on the altar of caregiving. And I firmly disagree with that. I think that we can live a life of great meaning and purpose. It may be different, and it certainly will not meet all of our expectations and things that we think it should be, but that doesn't mean it has to be bad, and it can't be fulfilling. And she talked about a lot of things in this, and it was we talked about forgiveness. It's never too late to extend forgiveness. And some people think, well, they've already passed away. You can still forgive. Forgiveness is for your benefit as well. It's taking your hands off of someone else's throat and leaving that to go ahead.
No, well, we talk about this an awful lot, and this really fundamentally changed how I thought about forgiveness when we started doing this, years and years ago. Because, well, growing up Catholic will give you an odd perception of forgiveness.
We're going to put that right here, and then we're just going to walk away, and nobody's going to get hurt.
Just walk past it.
But nobody's going to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But the idea that and I kind of put the emphasis on this more on the individual doing the forgiving these days. Like, it really, for me, the act is way more about releasing yourself from this burden of rage or of blame or whatever than it is about even telling the other person that they're forgiven.
I don't even know that you have to. If they're not asking,
exactly.
you can forgive them without them asking. I look at Jesus on the cross. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." I mean, he forgave them without us
they weren't
even
asking.
But I think what one person described this, see if this resonates with you, is that basically when you are walking in unforgiveness, you're carrying around a bag of bricks. And that thing gets heavy. It hurts. It hurts you. Put it down. Let it go.
it doesn't matter if you're guilty or the one who feels that someone else is guilty. Guilt is still being experienced by both of you in some way. And guilt is kind of like a sack of bricks, and sometimes you just got to set that down.
And it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Okay?
Exactly.
The wounds matter. They really do. It just means that you're not going to make yourself judge, jury, and executioner.
Exactly.
And
especially
you're going to walk away from
this.
this.
Hard job. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's just, you're going to walk away and it's just a different way of looking at it. Instead of saying, well, I forgive you and forget it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. It matters so much that I'm going to release this to God and let him deal with it and not me, because he's better equipped to do this. And so that's something I just felt like particularly this time of year. This is a good time of year to take some inventory. We'll talk about that next week on the show as well. But these are things that Kathy Lee and I talked about in our interview, and I would recommend you getting it and sharing, because she had to walk through some public things of forgiveness with Frank, and she talks about it on the show. And I've had to go through my own journey with these sort of things on the receiving end of forgiveness. And so, this is an important part of our growth and our journey as caregivers. See, the goal is to not live incident free. Okay, we're not going to. That's an unrealistic goal. But the goal is to live, to deal with it as it comes, and deal with it straight up as best as we can, and make amends quickly when we have to, but understand that we don't have to be the police for everything. We don't have to make everything right, because some things aren't just going to be made right. And I look at these. And I hate to say this, and help me temper it when it comes out, John, because you're a good filter for me on this.
All right.
But I look at sometimes when there are such horrifically violent crimes, and the family, like the next day, the family's like, we forgive them, that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, are we really plumbing that? And I think forgiveness, we need to give it the respect, the trauma, the respect that it deserves. And understand
I hear you on that.
It just somehow just seems to me that we tend to quickly rush into that without just letting it breathe for a minute and recognize the magnitude of the wound, and then maybe you and I did a whole show one time on the word thank you, where sorry, the word sorry,
yes,
and how to apologize without saying sorry.
Right.
That's the same thing with forgiveness. Maybe we can learn to use to forgive without saying the word forgive.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I like where you're going with this, because like in the scenario that you gave where, there's this horrific crime and the family says, we forgive you. A little bit of that is, it's an artificial situation because they're in this public broadcast sort of situation where they, it's a little bit performative by its very nature. You can't separate them from that, because what they say in their inner hearts and minds and when they're at home is probably something a little bit different. But I feel like they're promoting the idea of being a decent person, even in the midst of some terrible stuff. That being said,
I respect that.
Yeah, I do, and I respect that as well. That being said, they're still not doing the thing that you mentioned, which is really important. That gets lost. The idea of sitting with the trauma and working through it in a way, because like the day after, you're probably still just numb as all get out about something like that, and
it takes time, and maybe we can, that's something, and you and I will spend more time on this because this has been a recurring theme. One of the things we do on the show is not spend a lot of time talking about caregiving tasks, but really deal with it from the inside out. Once your heart is in a little bit more stable and calmer place, then your wallet, your relationships, your job, your health, everything has a fair shot. But if your heart is a train wreck, and if it's filled with resentment or fear or despair, it's mighty hard to make good decisions in other areas as well, and that's kind of our thought. Well, these are some things to give yourself for Christmas this year, and we'll be right back. We got to go to the break. This is Hope for the Caregiver. HopeForTheCaregiver.com, 877-655-6755. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Peter Rosenberger. Have you ever helped somebody walk for the first time? I've had that privilege many times through our organization, Standing with Hope. When my wife, Gracie, gave up both of her legs following this horrible wreck that she had as a teenager, and she tried to save them for years, and it just wouldn't work out, and finally she relinquished them and thought, wow, this is it. I mean, I don't have any legs anymore. What can God do with that? And then she had this vision for using prosthetic limbs as a means of sharing the gospel, to put legs on her fellow amputees, and that's what we've been doing now since 2005 with Standing with Hope. We work in the West African country of Ghana, and you can be a part of that through supplies, through supporting team members, through supporting the work that we're doing over there. You could designate a limb. There's all kinds of ways that you can be a part of giving the gift that keeps on walking at standingwithhope.com. Would you take a moment to go out to standingwithhope.com and see how you can give? They go walking and leaping and praising God. You can be a part of that at standingwithhope.com.
As a caregiver, think about all the legal documents you need. Power of attorney, a will, living wills, and so many more. Then think about such things as disputes about medical bills. What if, instead of shelling out hefty fees for a few days of legal help, you paid a monthly membership and got a law firm for life? Well, we're taking legal representation and making some revisions in the form of accessible, affordable, full-service coverage. Finally, you can live life knowing you have a lawyer in your back pocket who, at the same time, isn't emptying it. It's called Legal Shield, and it's practical, affordable, and a must for the family caregiver. Visit caregiverlegal.com. That's caregiverlegal.com. Isn't it about time someone started advocating for you? www.caregiverlegal.com, an independent associate.
They're caregivers. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Have you ever struggled to trust God when lousy things happen to you? I'm Gracie Rosenberger, and in 1983, I experienced a horrific car accident leading to 80 surgeries and both legs amputated. I questioned why God allowed something so brutal to happen to me, but over time, my questions changed, and I discovered courage to trust God. That understanding, along with an appreciation for quality prosthetic limbs, led me to establish Standing with Hope. For more than a dozen years, we've been working with the government of Ghana and West Africa, equipping and training local workers to build and maintain quality prosthetic limbs for their own people. On a regular basis, we purchase and ship equipment and supplies, and with the help of inmates in a Tennessee prison, we also recycle parts from donated limbs. All of this is to point others to Christ, the source of my hope and strength. Please visit standingwithhope.com to learn more and participate in lifting others up. That's standingwithhope.com. I'm Gracie, and I am Standing with Hope.
What do you think about this, John?
I need to know the model number on that keyboard.
I love Christmas music.
I do too.
Ed says I'm the only guy he engineers for that has his own keyboard in the studio.
Oh, yeah? Nice. Yeah.
Welcome back to Hope for the Caregiver. Listen, a little Christmas music there, a little travel music.
I do got a quick question, though. You got that running through a board, or is that coming through the microphone?
That's actually coming through the board.
Oh, okay.
I hope it sounds like it's coming through the board.
No, it sounds like
there
was a little bit of reverb on it, so I didn't know if that was the keyboard or what was going on. So
I got a little bit of reverb on the keyboard.
Yeah,
and but I love doing that. I love having the ability to play a little bit. I love Christmas music. I played this morning at church. I do the music at a little church out here where we go, and John, I was so excited. We live in this really tiny cabin.
Prove it.
We tried to eat a large pizza and had to do it outside.
There you go.
It's but it's an old homestead cabin that's on the family's property out here that we're living here temporarily until we figure out kind of what's our next step as we build or buy or whatever. And I have a beautiful grand piano that was a family heirloom from Gracie's aunt, and we can't have it in our cabin. We just don't have the room. So I serve as a music minister at this little church down here in the valley, and so that's where I keep the piano and it sounds just lovely down there, and I got it all nice and covered up. But I had it tuned yesterday. I tune it pretty regularly, just simply because it gets the weather changes so much, and we had the power went out for about 20 hours down in the valley. Well, in fact, this whole valley a while back, and it got really cold, and some of the strings we have are new, and those strings get out of tune, and so I was sitting there this morning. There was just brand new tuned piano, which I love, by the way. There's something about that, and I'm on this
well-tempered clavier.
Yes, indeed. I just watched a documentary about Bach, by the way, before I came on the show.
There you go.
And,
sorry, I had to slip.
But it's that's okay. I'm with you. I'm tracking, baby. I'm there with you. I'm hanging with you, John. But I sat down and I started playing Christmas music, and I love that. And I throw in chords that are not necessarily. I get thrown out of a lot of churches for some of these chords.
These are non-ecumenical.
Well, like glow, that song "Angels We Have Heard on High." Well, I throw in some of these chords like. Those are not normal chords there.
No, I was going to say, I love how many. It's like, how many syllables does Gloria have? And if you ask a Catholic, it's 18.
18. But I love playing those wonderful carols. Those are just. I just love throwing in extra chords there that you're not normally hearing. And I had a buddy of mine used to. He's a wonderful player, and when we were in Nashville at music school together, and he was playing at a pretty good size church there in Nashville, and he was throwing in a lot of those major 7 chords and things like that. And the pastor pulled him. This is back in the '80s, and the pastor pulled him back in his office after church and just reamed him out for playing those barroom chords. And it really hurt his heart. And I was like, man, dude, don't tell me a major 7 is not a sanctified chord, because it is.
Yeah,
and I'll play a flat 9 chord.
Well, look, let's talk to David. All right. And see about that secret chord, and we'll go.
I don't know what he was. I don't know what he was playing on that thing, but it just. Martin Luther said that next to the Word of God, music is the most important thing. It elevates the soul, and I love the music of this season right now, and I love playing just anything. And this Christmas, and when people ask for requests for me to play stuff, I'd love to do it. So it's just a treat. And then, bonus upon bonus, I get to hear Gracie sing it, so that's even better.
There you go.
And she does a version of "Mary, Did You Know" that'll just break your heart, just break your heart, and it is so beautiful. And and we always have a white Christmas out here. And
yes, you do. Well, she has sung me "Happy Birthday" before. And
she has,
yes,
and she'll do it again.
So, I'm sure it'll happen.
Hey, are you into astronomy at all?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I still have my telescope from when I was a kid. It was a birthday present from my Uncle Steve when I was about 7 or so. It doesn't work anymore, but I love astronomy. Absolutely.
You know what's going to happen next week?
You can't spring this on me late in the show, all right?
Well, I know, but you know what's happening next week, don't you?
Well, we're right in the middle of the Jupiter-Saturn convergence.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah.
And I'm just hoping we have a clear night, because out here, when Gracie and I, and if you go out to my Facebook page, and I'll try to put it on Hope for the Caregivers Facebook page, you'll see the view I had this morning from our bedroom window. We have a big picture window, and we have a 30-mile view from our bedroom window. And on a clear day, you could see literally 30 miles. And it's just gorgeous. And I saw the sunrise this morning. But at night, on a clear night, I could just lay in bed and just it's like sleeping in a planetarium.
It's really strange for those of you who have been in the city your entire life, being out in a place where there is very little light pollution, like Montana. They named it Big Sky Country, for a reason.
But I'm hoping. I don't know what the weather's going to be like when Saturn and Jupiter a line, but it hasn't been this way since like 1200 something.
Yeah,
800
and
years.
It's this. They appear as one singular object, and they're pretty bright in the sky anyway. People don't realize how bright like Mars is, or all these.
I could see, on a clear night out here. I could see Mars. You could see the red. It literally is the red planet.
Absolutely,
and with the naked eye, not with the telescope.
No, yeah, and that's about the one thing I can see. Mars and Venus are about the one or two things I can see besides the moon, and like maybe Vega or something like that. And I'm not like in the middle of the city, but I can still see it. And it was right near the moon for a couple of months this year. It was really, really pretty. It was just gorgeous.
Well,
so yeah,
if you're out in an area where there's not a lot of light pollution, I hope you'll get to see this. I'm hoping that the weather will be clear, that we won't have overcast skies, because there are times, John, when I walk outside at night and it catches my breath. The stars, I feel like I can reach up and touch them. Yeah. And we're a long ways away from a street light.
Oh, yeah.
So, it is a beautiful place.
Hey, Peter, that's a great gift to give yourself.
It is. I just wish I knew more about astronomy like you do, because you can name them.
We'll yammer on. I can yammer for a long time about that. Well, but that's another time. But yeah, you can't spring this on me.
I look at the constellations. Well, we rehearse this, but no, I look at the constellations. I can see, and you can seeing the Milky Way from here. Oh, John, you got to come out here.
You're far enough north that you are probably going to get to see some northern lights at some point.
There are times.
Yeah,
there are times.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we digress from caregiving, but I hope it at least lighten your heart. It's something, we're caregivers. We live life. We don't just have to live in the zone of caregiving all the time. We are full human beings who can laugh, cut up, look at the stars, and play the piano and wish each other Merry Christmas and sing about joy and the love of God. When I, in awesome wonder, consider all the worlds thy hands have made, then sings my soul, and that's the whole point of this. Hey, we got to go. John, as always, you're a delight.
Back at you, Peter. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you next week. This is Peter Rosenberger, hopeforthecaregiver.com.